Tēnā koutou katoa e hoa mā. Welcome to the NZ Fantasy Football Federation Association Premiership Week 9 recap. It was a wild week last week, one that had highs and lows for many teams, and one that has left us with an extremely interesting point in the season where we've got one team at the top of the table, 6-3, one team at the bottom of the table, 2-7. And then everyone else either 5-4 and 4-5. So it is a super tight thus far, and it's only going to heat up from here. So we are just coming into the peak of fantasy football season. This is why we love it. This is why we play it. Let's dive into some games and see how the drama unfolded. Alrighty, so I bet Jamie. I pretty much bet Jamie. We both had some all right players, had some dud games as well. But if you come down, actually that Kamara trade's working out all right for me. And Kamara had a bit of an average game, so it was a Taysom Hill game last week. But we look at this, Kenny Moore with the 2 pick sixes in one game. Pretty much won me the week. If he hadn't got those, I would have been around that 170-ish mark. So it would have been a lot closer without those. So it's pretty much the difference there. Jamie is somehow losing with this team. Like, this is not a bad team. He's got Pacheco, Jacobs, Herbert. He had a lot of players on bye. So he had Javonte Williams, Gibbs, Christian Kirk on bye. So and his defense is all right as well. So he's a bit unlucky, but I think he's getting when we check the table, I think he's getting absolutely dumped on in terms of points scored against. But it's fantasy football, but he's still not out of it. He can still finish 7-7 and potentially make the playoffs. So Jamie, keep fighting there, bro. It's 5 weeks. Taco. Oh, a close one there. 7-point game. I call this an average, low to average scoring game here. We're not going to see a lot of big action. Jake Ferguson, goodness me. Jara must have been toughing out with the bye weeks, having to start Ferguson and Njoku. And that looks like it was a big difference. And Jordan Hicks, 20 points on defense. Man, this man is an absolute weapon. How old is he? 31. Absolutely beasting him. And yeah, so we had St. Brown. Oh, St. Brown and Ridley on bye. So, and 2 main linebackers out. So a bit injury struck in there, but you got lucky, got the win. Jara Brontaco takes the L. On the other side here, we got Lloyd winning his 4th game against Gav. Oh, this is just great. The redemption story for Lloyd. 36 points from Dak Prescott, 370 and 3. Huge game. Big game from Burrow. Not as big over here, just about 1 touchdown behind, but massive game from Prescott. We had JT delivering the goods, Olave with the touchdown, Kincaid, and then Cole Kmet with the big 2 touchdown game from Tyson Bagent. Unbelievable. As we've seen from Lloyd all season, not much on the defensive side, but had enough on the offensive side to get it done, thanks to Cole Kmet. So Gav, I saw Gav this morning, and he's extremely concerned about his team. And he probably has reason to be, actually, when I'm looking at it now, unless he's got a lot of players on the bench. He's got Montgomery out. He really needs Montgomery back, and Debo out. Yeah, he needs those players desperately to get some wins. He's not out of it, still 4-5, well within reach. So no time for concern yet, Gav. You're looking all right. Sam has kind of fallen from grace here. I'm not sure what his... Was this no McCaffrey this week? Yeah, McCaffrey on the bench. And he had Johnny Smith on the bench. I mean, no one's going to predict that Johnny Smith game. That was just absolutely ridiculous. Taylor Heineken, he's just doing things for the Falcons. He does this. He comes in mid-season, makes people good enough to make you think he's good, but ultimately he's never going to be a starter in the NFL. But we love it for NFL fantasy content. Looks like Sam started Zaire Franklin, who was out. So not much on the defensive side, but big game for Schultz. Jeez, 28 points. And big game for CeeDee Lamb as well. So that looks like the big difference makers. You're not planning on 28 points from Schultz and Clarence getting the dub there, both to go 5-4. Cam also falling from grace, looking weak at 5-4. You never like Kenneth Walker 2 points came up against the Ravens. Let's go Raves. Swift, Hill with a down game. So that KC game did not do Cam any favors. But we did get 22 points from Taysom Hill. And his defense is did not perform great. So he'll be looking to bounce back this week. So Caleb taking the win. Not a great score for Caleb, but good enough to get it done this week. And finally, we have Old York Dwarves taking out Sylvan Swiss Family Robinson. So he got 56 points from Shroud. Oh my goodness. He got 57 points from Shroud and he only scored 157. Sylvan, I'm scared to look at the rest of your team. And you had 17 points from Higgins, 16 from Highsmith. Your team is not looking good. Who'd you have on bye? No one on bye. Oh wow, Sylvan, your team is not looking good, bro. You have done a Jeremy Bourne and just traded yourself into oblivion. Or Eli loses Cam Akers. Not a great score, 167, but again, it got the W, so who cares? So when we look at the table, we've got Cam, who was in first place at 1 point, now down to fourth. So I'm actually leading in point score, which I did not know, followed by Samuel. I'm only 2 points ahead of Sam, followed by Caleb. If you come down the bottom here, Jamie is well ahead in points scored against at this point in the season. I think the next highest is he's 130 points more scored against than the next player. So, oh no, there we go, 1700. So Gary's been dumped on, but he's still win 4 and 5. Jamie's points scored is quite low, so the second lowest. And then what trades have we had since? Wait, so when did we do the last? Oh yeah, we saw this. So we only had one trade. And I think this was Bijan Robinson for Gus Edwards and Terry McLaurin. I actually think I like this trade. But right now, I like the trade on the Edwards McLaurin side because those two players are performing. Bijan obviously has the talent and ability to make this trade absolutely winning for Caleb, but I feel like he's not getting that opportunity in Atlanta at the moment. So it's a good trade for both sides because Caleb can take the risk. He's top of the table. Hopefully, near the end of the season, we see Robinson take over. But I think right now, current state, this wins for Sylvan, but it's what they both need. So it's actually even. Check out waivers 15 for Wandale Robinson. That is you could have gotten for free. $5, nothing major. $11 for Tyson Chandler. Sure, Jamie's struggling there. Keaton Mitchell, 27. See, it's probably an overpay, but it doesn't really matter because Keaton Mitchell's not going to take over the backfield, but it's a bit like Devin Chan, where he only needs 4 or 5 carries and he could take one long one to the house. So great flex play if you need some upside there, which Put On Taco does. So the Premiership is competitive as usual. I love to see this 5-4, 4-5, from 2 to 11. There's only one game separating us. So if I lose and Lloyd wins, I could be on the same. Even though I'm second and Lloyd's 11th, I could be in the same record as Lloyd, which would be mind blowing. That would honestly be mind blowing if that happened. But that's fantasy football. So that's the Premiership. Well, let's take on a look at the Championship now.